Hi, hello, welcome back to MSOC Media and welcome back to Stories of Grace. In today's episode, we're going to meet someone who's passionate about medicine and how medical history and medical interventions have formed human identity. Let me welcome Angel George from St. George JSOC, Aberdeen. Welcome to Stories of Grace. Thank you for doing this with us. And we got in touch with you after we saw your talk on TEDx Aberdeen. So for anyone who's not seen it, I will add the link in the description below. So tell us a bit about TEDx and how that happened, and give us a little bit of introduction to yourself as well.
Yeah, so my name is also Angel. I am from Aberdeen and I'm a member of St. George Jacobite Syrian Orthodox Church here in Aberdeen. I am currently an S6 student, so I'm in my final year of school. And yeah, I had the opportunity to be a part of TEDx. So yeah, I'm just here to share a little bit about that and hopefully get a good discussion going. So in terms of TED and how that happened, I took part in TED Ed Aberdeen in 2023. So that was an opportunity that was open to secondary school students. And so there was 12 of us that did that. And I had to send in an audition video speaking a little bit about the topic that I wanted to speak about and why I wanted to do TED.
Was this all through school that you got the opportunity?
Yeah, so they advertised it through school and that's how I found out about it. And then the theme that year was STEM. So I decided to do a talk on artificial intelligence in medicine, just because I think it's a very relevant topic right now and one that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
And then in terms of TEDx, what they did was they invited 3 of us who did TED Ed in 2023 to come and be a part of TEDx Aberdeen, which was a much bigger event, bigger audience, big stage. And yeah, that's kind of how I came to do this. And the theme for last year, 2024, was identity. So a big element of TED is how we share our experiences to captivate the audience's attention. So we went through a 10-week training process where we received guidance on how to share our message in the most impactful way. And we received lots of tips on public speaking and how to get our message across. And it was just such a nice experience because we were all kind of growing together and learning, and we were able to give feedback to each other and, bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
So there were 10 speakers on that day. With 15-minute slots, and the 3 of us were also given a 15-minute slot to present our talk. As I mentioned before, the theme was identity, and so the 3 of us chose very different topics on identity and how that links to human identity. And we tried to take a different take on it. It's quite different from the other speakers, and we tried to bring, a touch of humor, a drama element to it as well.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it was really interesting watching it. It was very engaging, all 3 of you together.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was just, such a fun way to take such a big topic. In relation to what I did as part of the talk, I chose to focus on medicine because, this is my field of interest. And the whole process was just so fun and so creative, and the training and just crafting the talk in such a way where we covered 3 very different points and linking it back to identity. It was definitely an experience that I'll treasure, and one that I learned a lot from as well.
Perfect. What kind of training did you get? I mean, you mentioned public speaking, but what kind did they make you do exercises, or like did you get to rehearse on the stage with like an actual audience previous to the actual show? What kind of training process was it?
Yeah, so we got lots of different training tips to do with storytelling and sharing our message and how to kind of structure that, but also from a public speaking element as well. So, how to present yourself, how to use hand gestures, how to move and position your body in a way that captivates the audience's attention. And yeah, we also had dress rehearsals. We also had a rehearsal in front of all the other speakers as well. So that was the first time that we were presenting our talk in front of everyone else. And what they did was they gave post-it notes at the end, anonymized, so that they could all write down feedback.
Okay.
And then we, took that back, worked on it, and then did the dress rehearsal, and then final big red dot day.
That's good. That's good. It's great that because even in school you don't always get the opportunity for like public speaking or like to be on a stage and bring that aspect of yourself out. Like school doesn't, unless you go into sort of drama and stuff, you don't have that opportunity as much. So it's good that you got that opportunity and were able to learn so much. I'm sure like public speaking, all the training that you got, you'd be able to like input into like many other aspects of your life as well. How was it being on stage? Were you nervous? What was the feeling?
I think definitely nerves kicked in before I went on stage, just completely normal. But I think once I got on there and I was kind of just in the zone, and once I started, it was fine. But yeah, such a wonderful experience, I would say. I think that's the beauty of public speaking, the fact that you can get your message across and everyone's listening to what you have to say and the message that you have to give. And I think I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And sharing the stage.
You did look really really confident on stage. Like you're very engaging. You look very good on stage, like very believable with what we were saying. And I loved it. And even the topic was I loved how all three of you had different narrative to the same topic and kind of combined it all together at the end. That was really interesting. So what did you learn or discover new from doing this topic?
The experience was definitely a learning curve for me. I think identity is such a huge topic that's so very complex and very personal. All the adult speakers, they come from very different backgrounds, different career pathways, different cultures. And so it was really interesting getting to know them. And I actually just learned a lot from hearing their stories and how their experiences help to shape them and help to find and express their identity. And the event was so well put together in such a way that every audience member, like everybody who was listening to the speakers, had something that they could connect to. So I learned a lot about how each experience is a chance for us to reflect and find out about ourselves and who we really are. In relation to my talk, it was interesting because before this, I had never really thought about how medicine can have such an impact on our identity. So it was a great way for me to learn a lot about how medicine has evolved over time and how each discovery has impacted the way that we are and the way that we live life now as a society.
Yeah. Because I've learned about identity at uni, but I've never put medicine to it or like medical aspect to it. So it was very interesting listening to how you identified medicine to human identity. Would you be able to explain that? I know you've said it in your talk, but just in like a few words, to be able to explain what you said in the talk about how medicine relates to the human identity?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the way medicine links to identity is a very unique way. It's all these different discoveries that have got to where we are now. So one that I particularly like is Louis Pasteur's invention of germ theory. So in the 1860s. So before that, the whole concept was that diseases were caused by evil spirits and God punishing people and stuff. And it was when Louis Pasteur came along that he was like, hey, I don't think this is how it is. It's germs and microorganisms that cause diseases to happen. And then that led to many more advancements in sterilization and hygiene. And so that has directly impacted the way that we live now, with hand washing, sterilization in hospitals. We've just been through a pandemic, COVID-19.
Yeah.
So that whole idea of hygiene and sterilization was such a huge thing. And, a lot that we've learned a lot from that as well. So it's just, those discoveries have definitely shaped how we live just our day-to-day life. And in terms of health as well, I think when we're in good health, we often take it for granted.
Yeah.
And it's when things go wrong that we start picking up on it. And, just for example, if you have, say, a medical condition where you need to take medication every day, that then becomes a part of your daily routine. That becomes a part of our identity and a part of how we live our life. So definitely health and medicine, it's something that we don't often connect to identity. But once you think about it, you start realizing, there is a lot of correlation between it.
Yeah, that's really good. Like I said, like I've never thought of it like that. I don't think anyone would have really thought of like health or medical medical history as part of their identity. That's really cool. So I'm sure you've probably had I don't know if you have had a different perspective to your own identity pre the talk and post the talk. Have you thought about like your own identity more deeper now that you've like explored this topic more? And if you have, like, if you don't mind sharing, like what you identify, like what your identity is with us?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think even the word identity and that theme is something that I never really considered until TED. And that definitely did, especially after hearing everyone else's stories, it definitely got me thinking about my own identity. And something that I learned from that was it's many different components that make up one's identity. It's not just one thing. So for me personally, I was born in India, but I've lived here in the UK for most of my life. But even then, my Indian culture is a huge part of my identity and one which I embrace dearly. I watch Indian movies, mainly listen to Indian music. We speak Malayalam at home, eat Indian foods. So it's such a huge part of my identity is where I come from and my Indian culture. As well as this, I was raised going to church, attending Kurbana, being involved in Sunday school. So my Christian identity, again, is a big part of who I am. But again, I think it's just important to remember that identity is made up of so many different things. It's not just a bullet point list or boxes that we go through. It's something that's always changing, always shape shifting, and we're constantly trying to figure out who we are. So that's definitely something that I learned from the experiences. It's not just a fixed thing. It's always evolving.
Yeah. It's especially like sort of like kids like us who have, from India, but have born and brought up here or raised here, we sort of have the dual identity of like the Indian side and the British side. And like, I don't know if everyone else does as well. Like for me, like here, if I'm in like a majority British group, I feel like my Indianness, I feel that Indianness more. Like I feel very Indian. Like I become very aware of like my Indianness. And then like if I was to go on that Pombo, like if I'm in like a public crowd and then like I suddenly feel very British. You know, it's very like I feel like a misfit sometimes there and here. So I've always been interested in like how like the dual identity situation works and how we sort of manage it. What do you think about that? Have you felt that or?
No, absolutely. Like Chechi, I agree with you so much on that. That is just, finding that balance because, obviously we've been brought up here, going to school here, British friends, but equally at home, we embrace that Indian culture so much. As I said, we speak Malayalam at home, we don't speak English. And so, it can be hard at times where if you're in a group with majority British people, you really start to notice the Indian. But then when you go back home to India, then, everyone's speaking to you in English and you have that accent. And, it's definitely one that I know I felt for sure. And I think it's just about balancing it, to be honest, and just, we're in control of our identity. So, what I've found is we can choose what we want to embrace more as part of our identity. I feel for me personally, I've never kind of held back on my Indian identity. I try and share as much about it as possible with my British friends and try to share my culture with them as well, rather than like, being embarrassed about it or holding back. So that's definitely something that I know I try to do. And it's all about sharing, our experiences and finding out about other people's cultures as well.
Yes, yeah. Well, in today's world when identity, you have the freedom to choose your own identity, to what extent do you think the freedom is reasonable?
That's a big question. I think it's just about exploring yourself and finding out like who we are. It's a freedom that we should not misuse in a sense. I think definitely trying to stay true to ourselves is very important. Not trying to be someone who we're not. But equally very important to explore, different things and see what it is that we enjoy, where our passions lie, and just discovering who we are as a person.
How much of that do you think, like other people's perspective on you, like matters in you evolving your own identity? Do you think that should have like someone else's perspective should have an impact on how I identify myself as, or no?
I think naturally we do kind of tune ourselves according to other people's perspectives on us, especially as teenagers, as young people. We're on social media, we see people posting left, right, and center. And so I think naturally we do tend to compare ourselves. And, when people say things, we do naturally change ourselves a bit. Is that right? I don't think so necessarily. I think it's important, again, to stay true to us and not really let other people's opinions and thoughts change who you are. I think, especially like from a religious point of view as well, like God made us unique to unique individuals. And so if we were to go out and change every aspect of us just because somebody said something and because your friends made a comment, then we're no longer us, we're trying to become them. And so I think it's important that, of course we respect what people say, but we shouldn't necessarily change ourselves because somebody said something.
I agree. I also think it's like all of this is the figuring it out is part of just creating the identity as well. But yeah, that was very interesting. Do you have any tips and advice for people wanting to do public speaking or wanting to get into sort of similar fields? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think it's normal to have butterflies before we go on stage. I think no matter how many times you perform or go on stage, you can never get rid of those butterflies. But there are certainly ways to manage them. One of my biggest pieces of advice, I would say, is to use every opportunity you get to do something like this. So whether it's Kalolsavams for Sunday school, or if there's any opportunities at school or competitions, the more you do it, you eventually get over the stage fright. So I personally have been a part of a few Kalolsavams over the years. And I actually took part in nationals as well in Bristol a few years ago, and did public speaking there. So yeah, I definitely think just grab every opportunity and then seek those opportunities as well to do public speaking. And over time, you can get over that stage fear.
Yeah.
And another piece of advice or a skill or technique rather, that I've learned is breathing. It's such a vital part of our speech, and it's taking deep breaths before we go on stage is a great way to kind of calm our heart rate and calm our nerves. So before we did TED, we actually had an instructor come in literally 15 minutes before we went on stage, and she did a breathing exercise with all of us, a breathing and mindfulness exercise, and that was a great way to calm our nerves and just get us into the zone so that we're not panicking before we go on.
Yeah.
And I think another really important one, and probably the most important one, is saying a quick prayer. I usually say the Lord's Prayer really quickly before I perform or before I do public speaking. And yeah, that just gives me that confidence that God is watching over me.
Perfect. That's amazing. So going back to your TEDx talk, do you think AI is going to have an effect on one's identity in future or in present time, in fact?
Yeah, I think AI is definitely a new concept. So as to whether it will affect our identity or not, I think that's something we'll have to wait out and see over time. But do I think it's going to have an effect? Yeah, I think it may as well, because it helps shape what we see online. So on our social media, on our apps, it gives us suggested content. So this can definitely influence how we present ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. And so that can have an impact on our identity. Equally, it can also show us content based on our likes and our dislikes. So the algorithms pick up on that. And that can actually help us learn more about parts of our identity. So for example, on my Instagram feed, recently I've been getting a lot of Christian content and content to do with Lent. And so that's really been helping me learn more about what it means to be a Christian. So I think definitely it can have an effect on our identity, but whether it will or not, we'll have to see.
Right. Interesting. What changes do you think AI is making in the healthcare field in the near future?
I think AI in healthcare and its effects is such a huge topic right now. And definitely one that's of particular interest to me as a young person who's going to be entering this field. I think the way that medicine is practiced now, will be different from how medicine is going to be practiced probably when I enter the field. Actually, earlier this week, the NHS Trust here appointed Scotland's first head of AI in medicine, Dr. Gerald Lipp, who's a professor here at the University of Aberdeen. So I think that itself shows that it's a field where we're going to be seeing a lot of growth in coming years. And we're going to be seeing a lot of changes in the future, I think. But already now, AI is making a lot of changes now within medicine. It's definitely playing a huge role in early disease detection, and these machine learning algorithms can analyze medical images, so like X-rays and MRIs, with remarkable precision. And so, it's being used to detect conditions like cancer and heart disease at earlier stages, sometimes even before symptoms start to appear. So here in Aberdeen, they've actually developed an AI called Mia, which is being used in breast cancer detection. So it's been found to be an additional 12% more effective than routine practice for detecting these cancers. So that's just one way that AI is revolutionizing healthcare. And I think we can definitely see more advancements in the future.
Yeah. Do you, as someone who wants to be in this field, does it make you more nervous or more excited knowing that, the practice might change by the time you're there?
It's definitely, I think, an exciting time for me. I would say reading about these advancements and what's in store for us and for the future of medicine, it's definitely exciting because I think it will be a helpful tool for us. And, so this Dr. Gerald Lipp that I mentioned, his job now is to help train students and doctors with AI and its implementation in healthcare. So I think as it becomes more and more common, we'll receive the training for that and eventually become comfortable with the way that it's being used.
Brilliant. I hope you have a lot of fun in the future. I'm sure you will. So you've talked about church and Christianity as your own identity. Do you have a fondest memory from church that you'd like to share?
My fondest memory from church is actually quite a recent one, when we did a Christmas carol, which was led by our JSOSM unit. So it's been many years since we had done a carol where, we go to different houses and perform. And it was honestly such a lovely experience. Everyone getting together, spreading Christmas joy. And it was just, such a happy time. And everybody had big smiles on their faces. Yeah. In terms of like how that's become a part of my life, we created our first JSOSM unit last year.
Oh, right.
It's very new, very, very recent. Yeah. And we've actually been able to do quite a few different activities as part of JSOSM. Yeah, so we did a bake sale, we did this carol. We've also put some content out on our Instagram page.
Oh, good.
Hoping to do more in the future.
We'll link the page in the description below so if people want to follow.
Yes, please do. We've been able to be quite active. And I think JSOSM for me has become a big part of my identity as a young Jacobite. The movement has really allowed us to celebrate and explore our Jacobite faith as young people. And also because it's a UK-wide movement, it's been an avenue for me to make other Jacobite friends across the UK.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's been so good to meet other people that are not just Christian but also come from the same Sabah as me, that are
Yeah.
the same age as me, and yeah, we've been able to discuss so many topics on our faith, and yeah, we've just learned so much from each other, and it's definitely made me more proud to embrace my Jacobite faith. So yeah, I think JSOSM has definitely become a really important part of my identity.
That's nice. That's so nice. It's I feel like anytime you have like relatability factors like within a community, when you have people that you can relate to, that really makes you like just that bit more confident in yourself, and that kind of gives you some sort of validation. I don't know how that works, but it's like if you're in like a public space or in a community and there's people you can relate with, you tend to become friends with people you relate with more as well. So yeah, it's nice finding the community within church. Yeah. I hope you're able to meet more people and do more events and make more
Fingers
friends.
crossed. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think that relatability factor is very important, and yeah, I think because even just as Indian Christians, it's
Yeah.
not very common or
Yeah.
meet other Indians that are Christians.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, my church community means a lot to me as well because we have that relatability factor. But yeah, so then when you go and meet other people outside of Aberdeen that
Yeah.
are, not just Indian, not just Christian, but also Jacobite as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many things that you can bond over.
I know. I know.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's great. Like I like other Christians that you meet. It's not the same as meeting a Jacobite, like our Qurbana is completely different. So it's just going to someone and saying, oh, Qurbana, and they know it's 3 hours long and they're not like, oh my God, it's 3 hours long. It's just different when you can meet someone and not have to explain, oh, it's 3 hours long, but,
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Qurbana, bonding over the songs, the fact
Yeah.
that our Qurbana actually has another completely different language. It has Suryani in it as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, people who understand that, and yeah, just something we can bond over, and yeah, it's a very comfortable feeling, a very like
Yeah.
at home feeling.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, almost feels like I've known them for forever.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you for sharing all this with us. It's been great talking to you. I know you're doing your A levels at the moment. Final year, are you or?
Yeah, final year, A levels in England, advanced higher.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Right,
no,
yeah.
when I explain it to other so my friends down in England, I usually just say A levels.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best with all your studies, all your exams and the future. And I hope you become a wonderful doctor. All the best with that. And yeah, maybe in like a few years' time we can come back, have another chat.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me and giving me this wonderful opportunity. Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to do this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining in with me today. If you liked today's episode, do like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, bye.